tonight?
Yes. Are you?
I've got coaching in the morning.
God.
2 meetings.
Don't go into it. It's going to extra time.
I've got 2 meetings tomorrow with guys I've never met before. I'm going to be wrecked. And I've got coaching in the afternoon.
Well, did you
and then I'm back down
today?
here Saturday, Sunday.
Did you drive down today?
No, I came down yesterday.
Yeah, I was down here. Oh, yeah, because you were, last night. Yeah, I was down here for Tuesdays, and then I just stayed down here. Yes. Have you got me? Eyes in team lists on the... Yeah, no worries. Who knows what's going to happen tonight, AJ? That's the saying, isn't it?
I feel like I'm getting a cold. This isn't good.
You getting a cold?
I feel like it, yep.
Great, so...
Starting to get a sniffle. Just in the...
Just 2 places remain in the last 16 of the 2026 Australia Cup. And on the final night of the round of 32, it's a clash of Australian football giants. The competition's 3-time winners, Adelaide United, host the 4-time National Soccer League champions, South Melbourne. Good evening and welcome to Lakeside Stadium. We're on Boonwurrung country here in Melbourne. South Melbourne hosting Adelaide United. And the locals, they are pumped. The visitors looking to turn away some disappointing memories of the Cup last year. Only knocked out in the round of 32 for the 2nd time in their history. The Reds, they don't want to go out at the first time of asking in back-to-back years. Tonight, though, a rivalry that has been in hibernation for more than 2 decades emerges from the darkness. For South Melbourne, they've been waiting for this since the 20th of March 2004, the day Adelaide United ended their NSL era and knocked them out of the final series after a controversial extra time penalty at Hahn Stadium. And more than 22 years on, they finally have their shot at redemption. But as they well know, opportunities like this don't come around very often. And Adelaide, they've got their own motivation as well. Last season, of course, ended in finals heartbreak. And Ed and Andrioli's Reds are desperate to turn some beautiful football and promise they showed last season into some silverware this season. A trophy would be a fitting reward for them. Well, the crowd's in here at Lakeside Stadium, a venue where they have seen Hellas cause a cup set before. And that was against Wellington Phoenix back in 2024 when they knocked them out in the round of 32.
Melbourne, Hellas, and Adelaide United as they walk onto the pitch for this Hahn Australia Cup round of 32 fixture. Come on, South.
Craig Goodwin, a welcome return for Adelaide United, a sight for sore eyes after he missed bulk of last campaign with that groin injury. And Paolo Retre, you can see, over to Craig Goodwin's left. A recent signing for South Melbourne after making the move from Wellington Phoenix. There are a few new recruits in this South Melbourne side who have just arrived in the last month. So some team news for you. South Melbourne have named an unchanged 11 from the side who upset the NPL Victoria leaders Oakley Cannons on Friday night. That includes captain Marko Jankovic, who scored a winner for Bentley in a cup set against Wellington. new signings, Ramzani, Yu, Retre and Juach all start. Juach, of course, scoring 3 goals in the Cup last year. He was a big part of Heidelberg's push to that final. And for Adelaide, Craig Goodwin is back from that groin issue. 4 changes from their semi-final defeat to Auckland, which probably tells you the story that it has been a pre-season where Ayrton Andrioli has been able to stick with a large chunk of players who he had at his disposal last season. So Munith, Duzel and Taladira all coming into the starting side. Of course, they were all at the club last season. But questions remain for Adelaide about that number 9 role, the out-and-out striker, after the departure of Luka Jovanovic to San Jose in the off-season. So Marko Jankovic, the captain, with some final instructions for his side. Remembering that he scored that famous goal against Wellington back in 2018 in that 1-0 win for Bentley. There's Ayrton Andrioli. What a debut season he had for Adelaide, leading them to second place. Look at Eugene Galekovic there, just to the left, sitting almost all alone there to the right of Isaias. He actually played in the last meeting between these two sides. He was the goalkeeper that Richie Aligic blasted his penalty past to send South Melbourne out of the NSL finals back in 2004. And then went on to be a legend at Adelaide, as would happen. There's Sinisha Chohajic, the head coach of South Melbourne. Won the Australian Championship with South last year, and then led them to the final of the OFC Pro League. There was a little bit of a disagreement about a month or two ago where it seemed like he was out of the club, but he said he had to sit down once they got some cool heads, and he stayed on at the club, which is wonderful for them because he has been an excellent head coach. So Declan Wood's in charge of this one, as for the first time in 22 years, Adelaide United and South Melbourne rekindle their rivalry. And Daniel McBreen, what a clash we have to finish the round of 32 of this year's Cup competition.
Well, you're right, Benny, and welcome everyone to the broadcast. It's a night for maybe some old scores to be settled. It's been a long time between drinks. How South Melbourne would love to get one over their A-League counterparts. Adelaide early in their pre-season, 3 cup sets already this season. We'll be hoping there isn't another this evening.
25 now in the competition's history. And as surprising as it would seem, South Melbourne have only dished out one of those. The likes of Heidelberg United. Well, last season they dished out 4, but 5 in total. Oakley Cannons have had a couple to their name. So South Melbourne, being the club they are, with the history that they have, they will want to cause a real stir here. Added to the fact as well, the first season of the Australian Championship, they were the side that won it against Marconi. Marko Jankovic, their captain, also scored in that one. He seems to pop up on historic nights for the sides he's playing for. Is Uchida with the cross. Adelaide having to deal with a bit of pressure early on in this one. Nice turn from Aaron Cox, who has been a revelation for South Melbourne this season. But he's unable to win a corner there, much to his disappointment.
Well, I thought the Adelaide player stepped in as well, and the South players were adamant it was a corner. The Adelaide got away with one.
Adelaide wanting to play out from the back and put under some real pressure there. Paul Juach, who scored 3 goals in this competition last year for Heidelberg. He was sniffing around up there.
Well, when Spitz received that ball back, there was just no movement in front of him. Everyone stood still, and he could see him put his arms up and say, well, come on, guys, I need someone to move somewhere.
So Jack Painter-Andrews, he's looking for quite a powerful throw here based on the run-up. Get some good distance on it. And Adelaide have done just enough. They'll have some bad memories of what happened to them against a side who, like the long throw in the semi-finals last year in Auckland, they just bullied them out of that final series. This is beautiful, though, to the back post. It sits nicely, and the opening goal. It's Craig Goodwin, who's back from that groin injury this season, and he's back scoring goals. Their all-time leading goal scorer, putting the Reds in front.
Well, we spoke about him before the game, how crucial and vital he might be for this Adelaide team tonight. With no real number 9, we spoke about Juan Munith as well, and him playing that maybe a false 9 position, but this is what we're used to seeing from him. What a ball that is. Just puts it into the path, and when it falls to the left foot of Craig Goodwin, invariably, more often than not, it ends up in the back of the net. It's a delightful ball there to say to Craig Goodwin, just bring it down and tuck it away, and he does. And early in this match, Adelaide find themselves in front, the 2 experienced head leading the way.
Well, no number 9, no worries for Adelaide. Craig Goodwin does the business. Now Munith testing out Charleston. So Craig Goodwin's record for Adelaide in the Australia Cup, he's now got 8 goals in 11 matches for the Reds. Remember, of course, he was the hero of that 2018 final victory where he scored a double against Sydney and took home the Mark Viduka medal.
Well, it was wonderful from Juan Munith, wasn't it? Johnny Yull actually made the forward run, and I thought, play the ball. Well, he had another idea. He opened up, saw Craig Goodwin in acres of space on the far post, and it was just a wonderful pass.
Well, South Melbourne, they are battle-hardened. You'd struggle to find a team that's played more matches in this country than them over the last 6 months, because they've, of course, had the NPL Victoria. They've been playing in the OFC Pro League as well. They made the final, going down to Auckland FC. Given away to Ethan Allegich. His dad, of course. Well, here's a chance here for Goodwin, and he's just flagged for offside. His dad, Richie, scored the winner the last time these 2 sides met in that semi-final in 2004, and that was when it was golden goal in extra time. So that penalty that Allegich converted, the match winner, and the game ender as South Melbourne to work their way forward. Given away to Allegich, and now Vreens. Here's Barnett. Yull, Munith. Just trying to settle themselves here, South Melbourne. This is Cox. And Pasquale just has the ball thieved off him by White, who drives into space, links again with the Spaniard, and he puts it wide.
Well, White there using his frame. He's a big, lanky fellow, isn't he? But he just out-muscles his opponent. So there's a lot of blue shirts in front of him. Opts for the pass, but he really came into his own last season, didn't he? I'm sure we'll see more of that.
Well, Adelaide have started this match most impressively, but remember what we've already seen in the round of 32, especially from an A-League club. We saw Newcastle take that 2-0 lead over Preston, and they looked like they were sailing through, and then all of a sudden, Preston came roaring back. Now Pavel Bernardo, who started the season with South Melbourne. Played a huge role in hauling Preston off the canvas and into the last 16. And that's going to be the question for Adelaide. How long can they keep going for, considering they are in the embryonic stages of their season? They've had 2 trial matches, pre-season matches. Against the Cove, they had a 5-0 win, and against Playford City, a 2-0 win. They're preparing for their AFC Champions League playoff on the 11th of August against Command Hanoi from Vietnam. They'll play that match at home. A bit of thinking to do for Johajic. Pasquale, most recently in the A-League with Western United. Retro. Ramazani. Looking for that diagonal ball. Enter Andrews pushing forward down the right. And the flag comes up. Offside against the Reds, or hang on a second. They're going to come back eventually for that. Maybe the assistant referee had a bit of a second guess there.
Well, the flag went up early. I just don't think the referee may have seen. You can see it clearly in an offside position. Flag goes early. Referee doesn't blow the whistle straight away. Maybe Adelaide just gave away a little secret there, that we can see you're off your line, Charleston. Maybe you should just have a little bit more caution.
South Melbourne also got some injury challenges they've had to overcome coming into this one. They've lost Lampard, their goalkeeper Javi Lopez, Jacob Eliopoulos, Alex Menelau, Max Mikola. 5 of their key players out injured for this one tonight. They've got some new recruits, as I mentioned, in Retro. David Hughes coming in the last month, Bull Uach as well. So to Hassan Ramazani. Yu and Ramazani actually were their opponents in the OFC Pro League. Ramazani playing with Vanuatu FC and Yu with South Island United, the other New Zealand side. Here's the cross from Cox. Yu giving chase. He scored on Friday night against Oakley. David Yu links with Pasquale. So they've had about a month to gel with their new teammates. Nice touch that from Yu, and the early delivery straight into the clutches of Josh Smits.
Well, it was nice football down the right-hand side, wasn't it? Final delivery, not quite there.
Ramazani does well to keep it inside the line. And in front of the South Melbourne faithful. There's Ramazani. Interesting story. He actually played one A-League match, Macca, for Brisbane Roar back in 2021. And having a chat to Warren Moon about him today, because he gave him his debut, and he said in another lifetime he probably would have played more matches in the A-League. It was just difficult at that point in time. Oh, that's It's awkward for Bull Duach. Wasn't expecting his foot to go right through the advertising hoarding there.
Well, it was a nice little shove from Panakikianis, and then a little... Oh, sorry about that, mate. Well, interesting that Kikianis is still here as well. Plenty of talk about him last season, potentially getting a big move overseas. Nothing has come to fruition as yet. I have to admit, he looks a lot bigger this season. Maybe he's done a bit of gym in the off-season. He looks stronger.
A bit of bench lifting.
He looks strong.
You don't mind a bit of that, do you? Just to finish off, though, in Ramazani, he actually came through the Raw Academy when they had the likes of Eli Adams, Keegan, Ulasic as well. So a number of players that Brisbane, in the end, didn't hang on to. They could have had some kind of a side. So Ethan Alagich takes on Pasquale, and Pasquale just got enough of a touch. There's another player. Pasquale, he's unlucky because he probably would still be playing in the A-League if Western United was still playing in the competition. So they won't be involved again this year, not to say they won't be in future. So it was tough for him. Andrews, the WA youth product, with the throw, and was there enough of a nudge there on Taladera? It seems so.
A nudge and a half.
Welcome to Lakeside.
You see just there, Taladera getting quite the nudge in the back. Obviously no Ryan Kiddo at left back for Adelaide. And we're so used to seeing him in those full-back positions, getting forward.
Yeah, I'm told no injury issues for Adelaide outside of course, Parias, as this free kick almost turns into a dangerous one, but Jankovic has done well there and wins the throw. I'm just told that the main first-team players that are missing are just sort of working their way back in to full fitness. Ryan Kiddo, of course, we know had that foot issue back end of last season. Was really struggling with that, so they want to get him 100% right for the season ahead, considering they're going to have a busy campaign, because that Champions League playoff, they win it, they play in the Champions League Elite, they lose and they play Champions League 2. So it's not like it was in the past where you were eliminated, you didn't play in the competition. They will have Asian football this year to contend with. It's an Andrioli and his coaching staff, which is fantastic because we know what a great venue Coopers is. They always get great crowds, even on Champions League nights, the Reds. So it's terrific to see them back on the continental stage.
I also think that the way that they've structured the competitions now too, it gives teams a realistic opportunity to do well, to go deep. We've seen it in recent years, the Australian teams. And of course, with that comes the prize money as well, which is also welcome. I just wonder if the #1 thing on Adelaide's shopping list might be a goal scorer, someone who can score goals in the domestic and the continental competitions.
Cox. So he Barnett one way and then the other, and then the cross straight into the arms of Smits. Well, one player I thought could be an option for Anthony Andrioli to maybe play that #9 role if he doesn't want to play him in midfield is someone like Ben Falami, but he seemingly is on the outer with Adelaide. He was actually going to be heading to the Mariners midway through last season, but that deal fell through, and seems like he may have to move to another club before he gets an opportunity once again, As we see this free kick won by Paolo Retre. Chance for Adelaide at this point. The difference between the two sides, Craig Goodwin continuing his love affair with this competition.
Well, South have got into some good wide positions, haven't they? 3 or 4 crosses have gone into the box, but each of them too close to Josh Smits. They have been able to get in some space in the wide areas. Just need that final delivery.
Excellent ability just to control possession under pressure. And really came into his own at the back end of last season. Vreens puts his pass forward. Muniz touching it wide for Yull. Goodwin trying to make himself a target in the box, and Yull just trying to link with Muniz. South Melbourne a chance if they're good enough here to break. Pasquale. Uchida. Uchida, a real goal scorer in the OFC Pro League. 7 goals for them. Geordie Swivel was the other man who was excellent in that competition with 10 goals. He's on the bench tonight. Here goes Painter Andrews. Duac in the middle. Painter Andrews towards Paul Duac. Adelaide able to scramble it away to safety for the moment.
Paul Duac just got into his position just early. I think he thought the pass was going to come just one touch earlier. He made that move to the front post and then found himself almost standing, waiting. Just a little bit more of an understanding there to hold the run or the delivery to come one touch earlier.
Thrust this one in. Oh, and there was the chance at the back post for Uchida. Well, Jankovic drew the defenders like bees to the honeypot, and it left some space there for Uchida. He couldn't make it count, and this is where Adelaide are dangerous. Goodwin looking for a second, but the flag is up.
Yeah, Johnny Yull there just drifting into an offside position. You can see defenders done well. They hold their line just enough there. You can see clearly into an offside position as he touches the ball off for Goodwin. There was also that opportunity for Uchida at the other end. It was always going to be difficult to generate the power with the header from where it was.
Well, here we go. Adelaide unhappy with where the free kick was going to be taken, so they've decided to take the law into their own hands. Don't mind that from Adelaide, Macca, especially what we saw against Auckland last year in that semi-final. They needed a bit of that, didn't they? When Peineke was fouling left, right and centre and not going into the book. Sometimes you've got to fight a bit of fire with fire. And I don't mind that they're in a hostile environment. Just play it up to the crowd.
Well, Craig Goodwin's got plenty of experience. Crowds aren't going to affect him.
What do you call that kind of thing on your podcast? No, don't say that, Macca. Here's Aaron Cox. Uchida. There's the speed there for Vreens. I'll tell you what, well, it is going to be a corner. Bart Vreens, he knew he was in a little spot of bother there.
Well, is he upset with the referee there or with his teammates for being isolated 1v1? There's a big pull of the shirt. Maybe that's what he was talking about.
Declan Wood's the referee. No, it's all good to go. Cox's delivery couldn't beat the first man. worked into this game nicely, South Melbourne. Adelaide, after taking the lead, even before they took the lead, they were more keen to strike on the counter. They're going to be dangerous with that speed up top. South Melbourne have to be very, very careful. Can't leave the door open. Layoff. This was slightly behind Aaron Cox, a South African-born winger who was signed by South Melbourne from Broadmeadow Magic after they were impressed by his work during the Australian Championship. Also previously been in Scotland with St Johnston and Forfar, a lesser-known team in Scotland. No doubt battle-hardened. Oh, that's unfortunate for Ramazani. Gone with the outside of the boot and he's clocked Pasquale in the back of the head. Pasquale back onto it though, as he forages and wins the ball. Uchida. Well, he just looked to be in two minds there.
Well, I think he was looking to bend it into that top corner. Looked to be a little bit too central in his body to really get the strike he wanted. You can see he's trying to fall away as he does it, which helps him lift the ball a little.
I was wondering whether he was trying to find Duach and Adelaide closed that space, and then all of a sudden the channel opened up and everything was just moving a bit quickly. But this press from South Melbourne, this is Jankovic, centre-back, who's pushed all the way forward. They need to foul here. They'd like to get back. But it was almost brilliantly executed. Again, Duach, this is you. Sharp player, David Yu. Squaring it up, and the strike deflects off Reens. Not a bad effort from Paolo Retre, most experienced cup player in this South Melbourne side, his 26th appearance tonight.
They just seem to be stepping it up a little bit, South Melbourne. A couple of opportunities for strikes around the edge of the box. High press, as you mentioned.
Hughes cross, a good one. Uchida again may have got a little brush off the hair there. Talented player, but maybe not quite the height of some of his teammates. They would have loved to those opportunities fall the way of Jankovic or Bill Duach. Again here, South across to Cox. Cheetah and Duach in the middle, and the pass just a little too heavy for the Japanese attacker. Giselle. Barnett. Able to clear it away for South Melbourne. Uchida very nearly picked the pocket there of Kikianis. Pasquale. You. Rattray. I said most experienced player across both. Across South Melbourne. He's actually the most experienced across both sides out there tonight. Some deep runs with Sydney FC. A couple of A-League championships with the Sky Blues for Hello Rattray. White. And Yull returns it to Ryan White. Just drops into that pocket and picks off possession. They haven't got too many numbers forward though, South Melbourne. He's somewhat of a lone ranger up there with Duach for that counter-attack. Duach goes sprawling onto the athletics track. He copped a little knock on the way through there. Hear the urging from the Adelaide bench for them to push up and really press South Melbourne, try and find a second goal. Body in a terrific position, great strength on the ball there to earn the ball back for Adelaide. Ryan White drives down on goal and flashes it across the face of Charleston.
Well, he only really had the option to shoot. You could see Craig Goodwin trying to get to that back post area, just peeling away, but he was so quick. And White to break free. There wasn't much support. The strike not really troubling Charleston in South's goal.
Is it unfair on Adelaide Macca to say number 9 would be in that position, or?
Well, no, it's not unfair at all. Manith is really dropping in and playing as a false 9, so it's difficult for him to get forward into those positions. Like I said earlier, I really think that's the key area they'll be focusing on, particularly with the Asian competition they'll be playing in as well.
And Luka Jovanovic heading to America. San Jose Earthquakes. The next step for him, as was the case for Archie Goodwin as well, who was a prolific goal scorer for the Reds season before he went to Charlotte FC, where he's currently playing.
There's quite a few Australians in America now in the MLS. Marcus Hampton just played in the All-Stars game. He's having a meteoric rise, isn't he?
And some Kiwis as well. I think Finn Sermon, he's one of the faces of the Timbers there at Portland. He's on a few buses around town. Leading the press for Adelaide. Mazzani away from Yull. Here's a little bit more of a step up from the South Melbourne perspective. Duach. Oh! Another season in the Australia Cup. And Ball Duach is doing what he does best, scoring against A-League opposition.
Well, it's the Raging Bull doing what he does best. It was out of nothing, wasn't it? Quick throw in, they get it forward. Look at the bodies, the confidence to get forward. And he looks outnumbered. And as it falls, he's only got one thing on his mind, get it on the left foot and have a crack. And doesn't he? What? In off the post. Smits with no chance whatsoever. It was a clumsy effort from Vreens, but what about the strike from Bourgeois? That is quality.
From Canada, with goals, he scored 29 in 40 matches for Pacific FC in the Canadian Premier League. Made the move back to Australia earlier this month. And he continues where he left off. 3 goals in the Cup last year. You'll remember he scored that double against Western Sydney. He's got one now against Adelaide. What a hit that is.
Oh, this will be a great angle. Look at that. No chance for the keeper. In off the post. He's done it again.
Well, Rattray, this is going to be a little bit tricky here for Smits, who goes up. Made it look easy in the end amid the pressure from Duach. Well, hasn't the volume lifted here at Lakeside? Rattray. They have got lots of experience, South Melbourne. There is no doubt about that. Likes of Rattray, Pasquale in the midfield. This man as well. Ramazani playing at left fullback. He's got A-League experience too. Who's just moved centrally for the moment. Painter Andrews. The delivery in towards Duach. Searching for the head of Cox. As we touched on, he's got a lot of speed. He's got more than Barnett, so he's going to be a tricky customer. That time he just drove straight on goal. Barnett, though, has got that experience and filled in at that right back role so well back end of last season.
Well, interesting to see how Adelaide react. It's always a lot easier when you score an early goal and you think, oh, we can cruise through the game. It's been drawn level. Spoken about before the game. Will the energy levels peter out after 60 minutes for Adelaide, being so early in their season? Sinisa Kohadzic was banking on it.
Uchida driving in on goal, looking for a teammate, finds it! Oh, South Melbourne, they are putting the foot down now. Pasquale just pushes that wide of goal, and Adelaide have got to come up with an answer.
Well, they're jumping, aren't they, in the crowd now? They're up and down, cheering on their team. Nice little layoff there, looking to try and find the bottom corner with the strike. Cheetah, you could see the support coming. Smith's probably had it covered. It's another warning sign, and look at them, they're loving it at the moment.
Well, as we said right from the top, these two have a storied history. Fourth meeting of these sides, just one at Lakeside Stadium. And South Melbourne won that 2-1. Adelaide won the two previous meetings, both of them at Hindmarsh. Here is Craig Goodwin looking for a double, and he's done well there, Charleston, because that was bobbling. It was moving a little after the deflection.
There's a little riposte from Adelaide. Goodwin looks to have moved to the right-hand side. Maybe when he gets the ball cut inside. We haven't seen too much of him on the ball, or Johnny Yull, who was on that right-hand side earlier. It's incredulous.
Well, they are in a cup tie here, Adelaide. Here it was. Taladera hit the deck, and look at the South Melbourne boss.
Wow. I'd have to disagree and say that I think there was a nudge while he was in the air, which knocked him off his feet.
Was he giving the fourth official the beige eyes there, Macca? I would not want to be the fourth official there tonight. Juach taking on Munith, who's meant to be playing up top here for Adelaide. He takes him down. Referee says free kick. Is there anything further here?
Well, I don't think there'll be a card brandished, but it's a bit of a mismatch on the run, isn't it? And you can see Munith, he tries to jump in on the wrong side, really. Ends up bringing him down. You're intimating to me now that you think there should be a card involved, but I think there was plenty of cover there.
There we go. Yankovic and Kikianis. I love this. Hustle and bustle from two defenders, so Declan Woods has just got to sort them out. Yankovic is walking through going, who's the big dog here? All right, let's take you on. Taylor Andrews. Long throw.
Well, there was no foul.
Yeah, there wasn't. I thought Declan Woods had blown a foul, but no, he just said it was a throw, I reckon. So nothing doing. Thought it was at least a foul, Macca.
Well, I'm with you, Benny.
So Uchida. Maybe South Melbourne wouldn't mind the. They don't mind the long throw. It's causing a few moments of panic for Adelaide. And Barnett used all his experience there to ensure it's just a goal kick. So 4 minutes until half-time here at Lakeside Stadium. Adelaide with the early goal. Craig Goodwin scoring it. No surprises there. And South Melbourne replying via a spectacular strike from the raging bull. Juach, and you'd probably say no surprises there. Play on.
Well, yeah. Both teams calling on their talisman, and they've replied. It's been a very interesting first half.
So 3 in 5 cup matches last year for the Raging Bull in the final stages. So you can make that 4 in his last 6. And as I mentioned, he's come from Canada, where he scored 29 goals for Pacific FC in 40 matches. It's tight all round in the Australia Cup tonight. No goal alerts from the other match. Absolutely dead level wherever you look tonight. And Aaron Cox just left it behind him slightly, so gave the Reds a chance just to have a couple of seconds to retreat, but he's back at them again, Cox. And in the end, couldn't get the cross right.
Well, that's been the story from wide areas, South Melbourne. They've got into good positions, they just haven't quite found that delivery from open play.
Look at that, pretty even the final third entries. A lot of those Adelaide final third entries, they were on the counter-attack. So Smits spoons this up into vacant space. South Melbourne regain control of possession. David Yu, a couple of step-overs, a tangle. Yu almost all the way. Well, it was a Painter, Andrews and Taladera. Of course, Taladera, that's about the third time he's hit the deck tonight. That time there was no whistle. Taladera with the throw. The young Socceroos under-20 Asian Cup winner back in the early part of last year. Limited opportunities though for him at A-League level, just the 9 appearances. Ramazani, chance for them to go again here, South Melbourne. There's some space over. Pasquale headed there, but Adelaide able to shore it up. So a bit to talk about in the halftime show coming up next here on Paramount Plus. Don't forget, following the conclusion of tonight's matches, we will have the draw for the round of 16.
The fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 1 minute of added time.
As you heard, just the 1 additional minute in this first half. The Goodwin cross. Oh, it bounced up awkwardly. Charleston has saved his blushes there. My goodness, is Yankovic all right? Don't need an injury to their captain. But that was a nervy moment.
I think it was the run of Munith across the front post area that maybe just putting, I see him just lunging. Maybe that's just enough to put Charleston off. Really should be taking that cleanly.
Remembering their first choice keeper, the Spaniard Javi Lopez, not the Adelaide Javi Lopez. He's out injured tonight, so the 22-year-old, well, he did well enough there. And at half-time, what an intriguing first half we have witnessed there. Craig Goodwin, the Cup King for Adelaide, scored his 8th in 11 appearances for the Reds in this competition. But then South Melbourne able to equalise through Bull Duac, who was a star in this competition last year for Heidelberg. And he repeats with a spectacular goal here tonight, which leaves us a goal apiece at half-time at Lakeside Stadium.
This Sunday, on the 2nd of August, as we take on
South Melbourne 1, Adelaide United 1.
What are you doing?
We're planking.
It's because of our internet providers.
We're stuck in 2011.
Same slow internet speeds.
And high prices.
It's like a nightmare.
Enough planking. Superloop is a network purpose-built for the super-fast future of the internet. You are free.
Don't take it lying down, Australia. Refresh your internet.
You are free.
It just went up another level. I felt that South Melbourne were largely for a huge part of that first half very dominant. Adelaide a little bit sloppy. You could almost say that early goal, and Daniel McBreen actually said it in the commentary, that maybe getting an early goal, you go into this mindset of thinking that you can cruise through. They just seemed a little bit slow in their ball movement. Not the Adelaide we're used to seeing, but it's understandable. They've only played 2 competitive matches. They just look a little bit slow. Maybe a half-time talking to a little bit more pep in the step, you could say, for Adelaide. But for South Melbourne, I thought they were excellent, especially going a goal down. They really responded well. Out in these wide areas, they were fantastic. I tell you what, this second half's going to be electric.
at Lakeside Stadium, the final match day of the Australia Cup round of 32 for 2026 in what is the 13th edition of the Australia Cup. Lucky for some, for South Melbourne, no luck about their performance in this match. They have been battle-hardened across this season with the OFC Pro League, the NPL Victoria. The tail end of last season, they had the Australian Championship. They'll have that again this year, and that is how they qualified direct to the Australia Cup round of 32, winning that competition. The Australian second tier last year, a 2-0 win over Marconi in the final earned them a spot here. And they are putting Adelaide United, the team that finished second in the A-League last season, right to the test. Goodwin with the opener for Adelaide. Ball-Duach with the equaliser before half-time. And it is on a knife's edge as we wait for this second half to get underway. So second half underway at Lakeside Stadium. South Melbourne looking to cause their second cup set. Adelaide United looking to avoid a round of 32 exit in back-to-back Australia Cups. That would be the first time in their history. They would be eliminated at the first stage in consecutive seasons. And Daniel McBreen, at this stage, it is all set up for an enthralling second half.
Well, it certainly is. South Melbourne answered Adelaide with a wonderful goal. Ball-Duach as they break forward here. There's Johnny Yale. We haven't seen too much of him in the match so far, playing in that wide right position.
South, you can see they've got numbers around the ball. Here's a strike which just dips on Charleston. You just wonder after that little moment of indecision, the little fumble right on the stroke of half-time, whether Adelaide have been told just test out the goalkeeper. He's got some pedigree. The South Melbourne custodian actually was part of the Empoli under-18 side back a few years ago in Italy. That's his opportunity with Javi Lopez. South Melbourne Spanish goalkeeper out injured at the moment. Ball-Duach stealing in on goal. They're asking for a penalty. That would have been a harsh one against Adelaide. Declan Woods pointed to the spot there.
Well, it was a good run. Duach, Kikianis just caught a little out of position. Art Vreen's got across, used his body well. See there, just got across strongly.
Smits searching forward for Jay Barnett, who got high there, the Adelaide right fullback. Appeals for a handball, and the referee will come back for that. Right, Goodwin's come sprinting in here. Maybe he's had a few words, just having a chat to the official.
You can see clearly on the replay, comes off the arms to the advantage of the attacking team.
Uchida Cox, who got himself forward well in the first half. Does he have the final delivery? He drives it across goal, and Smits got himself low, had to sweep it away. And that was much more dangerous service there from Aaron Cox.
Yeah, he got into good position again behind the defensive line. Fired it across hard and low.
Now Pasquale pressuring Alagic. Had a terrific season last year as well, Ethan Alagic. Right now, they need some lifting. They need some energy, this Adelaide side. Maybe it'll come after that interception from Barnett. Pasquale. Jean Ajax. Junior. And now David Yu was brought down. Juach. Maybe one final pass too many. Uchita's asking the question why there was no free kick, but it was a great opportunity presenting itself for South Melbourne. Painter Andrews drives in across, and what is the decision here? Corner or free kick? Adelaide want the free kick. Referee says corner.
Here's the early opportunity. Duarte just got himself into a position where I thought he might just pull the trigger on the right foot. Went against it. By the time he rolled the ball square, the covering defence was back.
And South Melbourne, well, they were blowing up, but the referee actually played advantage. You can see there, Declan Woods, he indicated that he was playing advantage. So, chance was spurned there for South Melbourne. How's this corner? Oh, it's a disappointing one. Just totally releases the pressure. Got to love the atmosphere inside Lakeside Stadium here tonight. South Melbourne fans full of voice, and it's only lifted, as we heard from Archie in the halftime show. Since that goal from Paul Juach, they were silent somewhat after the Craig Goodwin opener. But they are back full of voice now. This match sitting on a knife's edge right now.
I just wonder if in the next 5 minutes or so we might see Adelaide in particular go to their bench. And look at the likes of Burkett, Tattoo, both explosive, a bit of pace as well. Could change the whole dynamic of their attack.
Anselmo as well.
Yeah, you've got Anselmo in there as well.
Had some good impact off the bench last year as sort of that hold-up striker. Started both of their finals matches. Harry Crawford as well. He's got a goal in him as well. Scored that stunning debut goal in the A-League. South Melbourne, though, they have some quality as well in Geordie Swibble, who we've seen in the A-League, but also in the OFC Pro League. Second top goal scorer in double figures. Painter Andrews and Pasquale just had the space Closed down by White, but they get the next best thing, and that is a corner kick for South Melbourne. And we know the damage that can be inflicted from the set piece. There's Marko Jankovic. He's just gliding in there at that back post. They play it short, and it's Pasquale. Jankovic is there at the back post. I mentioned earlier in the call a goal scorer for Bentley back in 2018 against Wellington. Here's Cox. Curls that one just wide of goal. And still, it is all South Melbourne at the moment.
Well, they're piling on the pressure, aren't they? This is the final strike from Cox, but the goal in from Pasquale earlier was dangerous as well.
Jankovic has to do some defensive work. Painter Andrews getting out, but Adelaide have some space to work in here. Goodwin and Yull. Kiki Yards. White doesn't have the speed there. Charleston rushes out. Uchida has a number of men rushing forward. He couldn't find any of them. And that is a half chance for South Melbourne wasted. And now Adelaide. This is what can happen. Don't take your opportunities. You can get punished at the other end, but Ramasani has done so well to win the ball back, and now allows another opportunity here for David Yu. Had Smith's a little concerned.
Well, it wasn't a bad effort. It was beautifully composed. Machida's having a heavy hand in most of the forays forward for South. At this moment in time, if you were going to predict the next goal scorer, you'd have to say it'd be coming from South Melbourne, wouldn't you?
I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I'd almost say it's hard to say once Adelaide took the lead. In that moment, they were dominated as such, because obviously they took the lead. They might be sitting back a bit more, but we've been able to see now that South Melbourne have got the equaliser, that the pattern of the game is continuing. So you'd have to say, from an Adelaide perspective, it's been somewhat concerning how much they have been controlled in this match by the home side. And for South Melbourne, they've got to take a lot of confidence from that. But they have to make it count. Pasquale and Cox. Just past the outstretched right foot of Painter Andrews. That's the issue for South Melbourne, is that they don't take their chances. We know Adelaide, they have got players who have scored significant goals. The likes of Craig Goodwin. And even on the bench, you've got Burkett, scored an A-League hat-trick. Crawford, another goal scorer in the A-League, and Anselmo, who's really tested out defences in the previous season, despite not being a traditional striker by trade. Here's a free kick for Adelaide, just to relieve a bit of pressure. get the ball eventually to Munith via Alagic. In front of Uchida. They're a dangerous couple of attacking threats for that man's side, Yu and Uchida. Yu actually played in the Club World Cup last year for Auckland City. Played all of their matches. Winning the OFC Champions League as well with them last year. Taladera and Goodwin.
Took all my strength not to throw in the dad joke there, Benny. I didn't play.
Good one, Macca. I tell you what, inseparable. Both of these two final matches. Usually get this, don't you, on the draw for the next round. Usually get an extra time thriller just to draw out. No, there's no pun intended there, just to draw out the drama. Taladera with the delivery. Gee, had some nice shape on that, and in the end, Ryan White just arriving a little late. Gets that right, and there might have been some more concerns for the home team.
Well, you can't complain about the delivery, can you? Right across the 6 yard. And we'll go back to an out-and-out striker. Would he have been planted right in that area? Just anything, a little touch, a flick.
Well, that's the issue for Adelaide, isn't it? As soon as they have an out-and-out striker, that question is going to be asked. But we've seen sides do it, haven't we? False nine, win competitions. So it can work. Great Goodwin scoring from a wide area. If you've got him scoring double-figure goals, it probably doesn't matter. As Ryan White is hurrying after this ball.
Well, he has been busy for Adelaide, hasn't he, Ryan White? Getting forward, getting back, defending.
Well, you're about to find out that there's been a goal at the other venue. You're going to see that very, very soon. Here's Kikianis trying to knock it in behind for Johnny Yull. So out at Belmore, Brisbane roar into a 1-0 lead, Macca, and Justin Vidic. Geez, he's had some chances in that one, but he finally found the back of the net and Brisbane lead.
Yeah, it was a feeling of not if, but when. They've had that many opportunities, Brisbane. Finally one has found the back of the net. Hasn't been anywhere near as a dominant performance from Adelaide against South. This is a real tug of war.
It's the difference, isn't it, between one of the top sides in the NPL Victoria, despite currently sitting 5th, but we know their quality. Australian Championship winners last year, and to be fair, they did have a bit of a flat spot. Their head coach, Sinisa Johadzic, said after that OFC Pro League final defeat that they should get themselves into the playoffs. Potentially opportunity for another trophy there. The premiership very difficult for them, with Oakley stealing a bit of a march up the top of the competition. And you can see their possession 55-45 in favour of South Melbourne, really controlling possession in this one. There's a nice Brisbane debut for Savit Nyor. And Brisbane 2 in a couple of minutes to lead Sydney Olympics. So maybe the dam wall has burst there. I tell you what, if there's a dam wall that's going to burst, you'd say it's Adelaide more than South Melbourne's, because it's the home side posing all the questions. Adelaide defensively having the answers to this point. So again, it's a short corner. And the flick on. Well, it's Meek, isn't it?
Well, if there's one thing that's let South Melbourne down tonight, it has been their final delivery from crosses. I saw 1 or 2 from corners in the first half that weren't too bad, but the rest, it's been a real disappointing area for them. They have got into some good positions, but the delivery has not been on par with the rest of their performance.
Well, it's interesting because we've seen some decent deliveries from Adelaide. They don't have the target. For South Melbourne, it's been somewhat the opposite. You just feel like at this point in the game, it's about time for maybe some fresh legs just to alter the tempo. But you wonder whether both coaches are thinking, well, this could be heading into extra time, so maybe I'll potentially wait a little bit longer.
Or make the subs and it doesn't go to extra time. We can finish it off in the next 25. I think Adelaide need a bit of pace up top. There's not really a threat in behind. There's no real pace there to threaten South Melbourne's back line. They're able to put, that means they can push higher on the field and press higher.
Well, I think Adelaide are about to make a change, to be fair, Macam. I'm just confused. First competitive match of the season for Adelaide. They're obviously not 100% match fit, and we're almost to the 70th minute and they haven't made a change. So to me, that is a little perplexing, but maybe they're using it as a bit of conditioning, so they want to try and continue to build their minutes here in this competitive environment. Off goes David Yu, gets pulled back. That has to be a card. Ethan Alagich goes into the book, the first of the night. So where do they go here? This was the goal from Craig Goodwin to open this match tonight. Just leaving you in suspense, I think. Here's Aaron Cox driving into the box. Gets that shooting angle, and there was a lot of bodies in there. No one in the end could get a touch. I reckon Uchida had a little swing at it. And in the end, it rolled right the way through to a very relieved goalkeeper.
Well, Cox has got into a couple of those positions. He hasn't been able to emulate his teammate, Paul Drutch, with his stunning effort. He's looking ever dangerous.
Ramazani, excellent thieving of possession, hangs it up. Uchida! South Melbourne in front. And is there a cup set on the cards here at Lakeside? Yuki Uchida with the go-ahead goal.
Well, he's been at the heart of many of the attacks for South Melbourne tonight. We spoke about the delivery not being great. Well, there's one out of top draw. On the outside, just stands it up to the back post, and that's a quality header back across from you. And Uchida, he's the first to pounce and tuck it away, and he sends the South Melbourne fans into raptures. That's a quality finish. First time volley. And don't they love it? And they are deserving. They have been the team that looked most likely. And finally, the cross comes and they get the dividends.
So Harry Crawford into the game. They were just about to make a change, Adelaide, but it's come a little too late to prevent South Melbourne from going in front. And Uchida, who was signed for them in September last year after he scored 12 goals last season with Dandenong Thunder. South Melbourne said, we'll have a little bit of that. And he played in the Australian Championship. 7 goals for them in the OFC Pro League. And I reckon there's none too much bigger than the one he has scored tonight to put them in front of Adelaide United. And he drives on, Uchida. Now it's Cox. Can they grab a third here, South Melbourne? And Smits is there, so all of a sudden Adelaide have got to go at them. How's the volume now inside Lakeside Stadium? We saw the other week Daniel McBreen was picking all the results. He was calling himself the Oracle. I think Daniel I think Daniel Garbs earned that right tonight. He said Brisbane to beat Sydney Olympic, and he said South Melbourne to win here in this one. Well, it's all shaping up nicely for Garvey. Painter Andrews. Will they paint the town blue with a win here? Couple of step overs. Couldn't repeat what we saw on Tuesday night from Satpayev for Chelsea. Similar kind of spot, and he put it in the top corner. You couldn't quite nail his moment there. Don't forget on Saturday night, Tottenham Hotspur, Chelsea, Accor Stadium. 80,000 in the house, apparently. It'll be a big night. You don't want to miss it here on Paramount Plus. Sydney Super Cup. This should be a free kick for South. And another yellow ticket is issued.
Just a little late to the challenge. Smith leaves the leg in. Fatigue setting in. Maybe a little bit of frustration now as well for Adelaide.
Some worried looks there on the Adelaide bench. As we said during this match, their best opportunities have come on the counter. Now South Melbourne have the opportunity just to sit a little bit deeper. Of course, they don't want to totally go into their shell. We know the danger that can cause when you sit so deep and just invite that pressure. Here is Yull. Can they unpick something here? Looking for a teammate. Can't find one. Now links with White. They are desperate. South Melbourne, look at the players. Just hunting the ball. And it's across the sideline. It will be an Adelaide throw. So just confirming that change. Goodwin off, Crawford on. I am still perplexed, Macca, why we haven't seen the likes of Tattoo and Anselmo at this point. Considering the scoreline, maybe they have a plan. Crawford in towards White. Spills here, Duzell. And it whacked off the arm and into the chest of Charleston. Maybe even got him in the chin, but it all counts as a save.
Well, I'm with you, Benny. I'm a little confused. The lack of substitutions for Adelaide as we creep towards the final 15 minutes.
Duzel will have another go. No, he doesn't. Frustration continues to build. How calm are they, Adelaide?
That was a nice strike. Straight out the keeper, though. He takes one opportunity.
Remember last season, final 15 minutes of matches, Macca, Adelaide were the comeback kings. They were the late show specialists. But there's no Luka Jovanovic for them. So here we go. We've been asking for it, and they have delivered. Another change. So Luke Duzel, he is replaced by Anselmo.
Substitution for Adelaide United. Coming off, number 23, Luke Duzel. And coming on, number 87, Anselmo de Moraes.
Scored a couple of goals last year. Wreaked havoc outside of that in matches where he did get the opportunity to come off the bench. Maybe I'm overstating it a bit, Macca, but he is a player who can cause defences some real headaches. We know, of course, he's a defensive midfielder by trade, but Adelaide used him in that striking role last year, that hold-up man. But he's dropping back here. They need the ball up the other end of the park. And right now it's David Yu. Closed down by Kikianis and then clipped clear by Taladera. And back it comes with some interest and some height. And this is awkward for Smiths. And he got there underneath it. Yup. On the outside of Painter Andrews, driving in on goal. Out comes Charleston. Every moment like that gets them closer to victory here, South Melbourne. Yo, and Taladera scoops it to that back post just over the head of Anselmo. So it's all but over at Belmore, Brisbane. Very nearly there. Almost into the last 16 of the Australia Cup. Confirmation there, Anselmo replacing Luke Duzel. And no changes for South Melbourne. Jankovic stretching. So he's going to have his hands full now, Marko Jankovic, like he hasn't in this match so far in terms of a physical battle with Anselmo there. So their cup wins on the final stages of the Australia Cup. 3 in 2017 when they went to the quarterfinals. They were beaten by Sydney FC that year. And then in 2024, 3 wins en route to the quarterfinals. And that was the season where, I should say, en route to the semi-final. And that was the season when they beat Wellington in the round of 32. And then last year they beat the Gold Coast Knights before they were eliminated by Auckland FC. So only once before have this historic club knocked out A-League opposition. That was Wellington Phoenix in 2024. Now this is Adelaide United, the team who finished second in the A-League last season, who will be playing on the continental stage this season in the Champions League Elite or the Champions League 2 competition. Can South Melbourne cause a significant upset? The 26th cup set in the competition's history, in what is the 13th running of the Australia Cup this year. So get the calculator out, you say 2 cup sets a year, but they have been coming thick and fast over the last 3 campaigns. Predominantly delivered by the teams from Victoria. Adelaide down to the byline. Ramazani got enough on it. All of a sudden they are just sitting a little bit deeper. Can Adelaide unpick them? The header away from Yankovic. It spills here for Crawford. Anselmo throwing himself about. Back into the mix at Charleston. Strong, a strong claim.
It's good goalkeeping. It was needed at that moment too. Came out over the top of all the players. Playing strongly.
Double substitution for South Melbourne FC coming off. Number 16, Aaron Cox.
South Melbourne about to go to their bench. So James Lackey comes into the game, the Melbourne Victory Youth product. He was signed from them in January. Hasn't scored in the NPL this season, but will bring some enterprise. There he is, James Lackey. So Paolo Retre comes into the game. Now, I reckon it's been announced that Lackey's come on for 2 different players. So we'll just clarify who else has come into this game. I would have a stab and say one of their midfielders who's on the bench, the likes of Skoupulos or Messaruni. To Smits. Squally in reverse. Well, that's Richie Nkomo who's come into the game. So Richie Nkomo, former Newcastle Jet, there he is, number 12. He's out there with James Lackey. So the ex-Victory man in Lackey and the ex-Jet in Nkomo played one A-League match last season. You may remember that one, Macca. It was on Boxing Day when Dan Wilmering was injured in the warm-up. And Nkomo was a late inclusion pretty much after the warm-up. He was put into the starting side, played the first half of that one. No other opportunities for him last year for the Jets, so makes the move to South Melbourne. So he comes in for Aaron Cox, so it looks as though Nkomo may be playing a little bit higher up the pitch than what we saw him play on his A-League debut. Uchida with the corner. And in it comes. Picked out of the night sky by Smits. So less than 7 minutes of regulation time remaining here at Lakeside Stadium as the mist rolls across, just to add to the suspense. Well, these last 6.5 minutes are going to flash by for Adelaide fans. They will feel like an eternity for the South Melbourne faithful. There's the cross. Back to Anselmo. He got some power on it. That's what he can do, the big man.
Well, it was a difficult one. It was behind him. It was neat work down the right-hand side. He had to stretch, stop, pivot. Didn't quite hit the target.
Double substitution for Adelaide United.
So Amlani Tattoo is going to come into the game. So is Brody Burkett.
Coming on, number 35, Brody Burkett. And coming off, number 62, Fabia Taladera. And coming on, number 74, Amlani Tattoo.
Now, I'm still really surprised, Macca, that Burkett and Tattoo have not come into this game, despite Adelaide being behind for some time until the last 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's should have been done earlier for mine as well. I'm with you on that, agreeing on that. The pace that they could offer to stretch that back line, start stretching South Melbourne.
You feel like there must be a plan here, whether they're trying to manage minutes or something, because ordinarily you would expect them to be used a lot earlier, especially when you're behind in a cup tie. There's no tomorrow in this competition for the loser. And Brody Burkett has scored a hat-trick in the A-League. Most onto the scene this season against Brisbane Roar. Barnett giving chase, and out comes Charleston. So Alligatch replaced. There will be no repeat of the Alligatch heroics we saw from his father Richie back in 2004, the last meeting of these two sides, and he scored the decisive penalty and golden goal to send Adelaide to the preliminary final. Tattoo. Can he put his name up in lights? Yow. It's a curling strike which was never going to trouble the South Melbourne goal, and another wasted moment for the Reds.
Well, time's running out, isn't it? They need to find something.
Going to see a fourth cup set of this year's competition. Preston beating the Jets, Lions beating Perth Glory, Sydney United beating the Mariners, but only one of those in normal time, and that was Preston beating Newcastle 3-2. It took right until the last minute of stoppage time. Geordie Swivel is getting ready. He may be the man to come on and seal it. Swivel, the leading goal scorer for them in the NPL. Leading goal scorer in the OFC Pro League as well. Stepping forward. Looks as though South Melbourne have moved to a back five, it would seem. It looks as though Ramazani slotted in there alongside Giannakopoulos and Yankovic. And then you've got Nkomo providing the width on that left edge. And Painter Andrews on the right. Side that can adjust quickly, South Melbourne, to their coach's needs.
Well, with a couple of minutes to go, just looking to shore things up. No urgency to get forward now.
This is another promising little counter-attack. And Como rolls it wide to Lackey. Some speed to burn James Lackey. And the cross well cut out. Como trying to sprint back into position. Got some numbers back though, South Melbourne, and Selma. Way through there. This will be a throw for Adelaide.
Substitution for South Melbourne FC.
So Geordie Swivel is going to come into the game for Paul Duach. And what a goal he scored in the first half. A spectacular strike.
Well, it was a peach, wasn't it? Only one thing on his mind. Got hold of it beautifully, in off the post. And they haven't looked back since then, have they? Grew in confidence, the crowd got behind them. And they have really taken it to Adelaide.
I think surely to the damage he has done to A-League clubs, whether Paul Duach is worth a look for A-League clubs. 3 goals last year for Heidelberg en route to the final. Another one, the first time of asking in the cup this year after returning from Canada, where he scored goals for fun. This is White, so Adelaide have got 5 minutes to try and pull this one out of the fire. They've got the players that can do so. Now Pasquale. He's a man with some experience. Down he goes. Little wry smile.
Ladies and gentlemen, the final crowd for tonight's Hahn Australia Cup match is 3,080. Thank you all for coming out to Lakeside Stadium.
Over 3,000 in the house tonight here at Lakeside Stadium.
We've definitely heard them as well. They've really, in that 12th player, lifted their team, got behind them. And that picture there tells a story, doesn't it?
Former South Melbourne goalkeeper in Eugene Galekovic watching on. It's a rather glum look on his face. He was on the wrong side of it 22 years ago, and at the moment, looks as though he's going to be on the wrong side of it again here, with the scoreline reversed as it is right now. 2-1 the head-to-heads between these two. Adelaide leading. Are they about to square the ledger here, South Melbourne, and get some revenge for that semi-final exit back in 2004 from the NSL? So Brisbane Roar are through. Confirmation, 3-0 winners over Sydney Olympic. Vidic, Newell and Nasso the goal scorers. Adelaide, one last throw of the dice into the mix-up. Appeals for handball. Referee says it's play on here for the Reds. Oh, that's excellent work from Lackey. Snuffed it out. Where does he go here? They're just looking to launch it. Forward here to Swivel, their leading goal scorer. He's not looking to seal it from a goal-scoring sense. He was keen to take it to the corner flag, and Adelaide showing what pressure can do. Too much deep thought going into this corner from South Melbourne. Swivel at the bottom of it. The referee says it'll be a free kick for Adelaide. And the South Melbourne fans are furious because he's taken it about 10 metres in front of where it was, and then he slipped over as well. So just over a minute to go. Yull putting the pressure on Painter Andrews. And he's away. So close now, South Melbourne. Do they think about sealing it here? Lucky. He's got Swivel in the middle, but he says no. I'm going to the corner. No risks being taken here. And Adelaide have got to launch it to the other end of Lakeside Stadium. Smits, well, that's going nowhere. Bounces up awkwardly though in the middle of the pitch. Ramazani sends it high. Slipped in behind. Uchita's not worrying about that. The match winner at this stage. Well, they say revenge is a dish best served cold. Well, on a freezing night in Melbourne, South Melbourne with revenge, 22 years in the making. More than 2 decades since Adelaide eliminated them from the NSL finals. There's some redemption for South Melbourne. They knocked them out of the Australia Cup and cause the 26th cup set in this competition's history.
Another famous night at Lakeside Stadium. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Well, what a night for South Melbourne. The second time they've knocked out A-League opposition. Wellington back a couple of years ago. Now Adelaide United. And it's South Melbourne who are going through to the last 16 of the Australia Cup in 2026.
South Melbourne Hellas take on St Albans Dinamo in the NPL Victoria Clash. We'll see
Celebrations all round for Sinisa Johacic. He is absolutely pumped. What a resume he has. Winning the Australian Championship last year. Piloting his side through to the OFC Pro League final, and now taking them through to the last 16 of the Cup after knocking out Adelaide United. Full time here at Lakeside Stadium, a famous night for a famous footballing club here in Melbourne. It finishes South Melbourne 2, Adelaide United 1.
We hope you enjoyed the match and thank you for your participation and support of the Hahn Australia Cup.